everyone, and welcome to OSDIA Facebook Live. My name is Lisa Marie Falbo, and I am joined by Justin Smith and my co-host for tonight, Bob Bianchi. And we are so honored to be joined by Joe Piscopo. And this is a very special, and no offense to any of the other states right now watching, but this is a very special Jersey-centric episode because Bob and I were like, first lady and first man of the Garden State, along with Joe Piscopo. So we're very excited about this tonight. And Bob, I know that you have so many burning questions for Joe here.
Well, Lisa, first of all, Joe, thank you very much for agreeing to appear. We know that you have so many things that you're doing, but we have a special tease here. So don't go anywhere because at the end, we're going to have a speed round of questions for Joe Piscopo. I'm sorry if this is a little Jersey centered, but you'll all get the idea. There are 8 things that we need to have settled in the state of New Jersey, and only Joe Piscopo can finally settle the debates on those 8 items, Lisa. It could get a little crazy.
Could get a little crazy. But before we dive into that, Joe, we want to know what is new in your world.
It's been so busy. Great to see you folks. And Bob, I've known you forever. Lisa, I see you down at Trinitas Medical Center there. And it's Justin, great to be with you as well. It's been so busy because it's everything's so off kilter, the pandemic and then politics. So I've been on the radio on AM 970, The Answer, every morning, 6 to 10. It's like 4 hours every day. Right here from where I'm in my studio at home. It's like a room. I call it the studio. It's like a place where I do my radio show from. And people are scared. People are nervous. They don't know what to do. So we just try to keep the calm every morning on AM 970. And then every Sunday night, 8 to 10, we do Sundays with Sinatra on WABC. So I got permission from Salem to go to ABC, to John Catsimatidis, my friend over there. And we have a blast celebrating everything great about the most iconic entertainer of our time, Francis Albert Sinatra. But it's constant. Then I have 5 children. I have an older son, but I got some younger kids. So I'm always running around, and it's nonstop. But it's so, by the grace of God, it's so good and busier than ever. And I'm very positive. We're going to get out of this mess. Everything's going to come together, but it's, I miss being on the road doing the live shows. That's the one thing I miss,
Right.
Getting on stage.
Joe, I want to ask you a question, if you don't mind, Lisa. You, before we came on live, you showed some religious items, and today is the first day of Lent. It's Ash Wednesday. And I'm just curious if you could tell us, how much is your faith or your Italian culture influenced who you are and how you do things in your prolific career?
St. Joseph, say hi to St. Joseph, kids.
Hey, St. Joseph.
Bob waves back. You got to wave, just in case you wave back. Yeah, I got holy water from Lourdes. Yeah, sure. So it's my mom, St. Thomas Church, Bloomfield, New Jersey. Back in the 50s and 60s. Yes, 50s and 60s, I actually said that. And I did my confirmation and communion at St. Thomas in Bloomfield. And ever since then, I don't know, I've always been a God-fearing, church-going, guilt-ridden Italian Catholic, And I went today. So funny. I went to church. It was, and I go, it's funny, when I'm on the radio, it's actually a Christian-based company, Salem Media, great folks. I got to tell you, really, you go to a board meeting and they quote scripture at the board meeting. How about that? And they're great. But I'm being Italian, being from New Jersey, it's a whole different thing, And I always talk about the saints on the air. They let me do it, They go, what does they believe? I go, well, we celebrate St. Joseph, and the cannolis are what? So today on the air, it was Ash Wednesday, and I say, because I'm proud of my faith, and I don't have to get political, but they really, I think sometimes they want to take that away from all of us, no matter what we are, what we believe in. And I said on the air, it's Ash Wednesday, thinking about it. And we want you to, to be retrospective. And I'm going to church and I'm getting my ashes. And then we did a whole rip on how do you do your ashes with the pandemic? Do you do it with hand sanitizer? So I didn't know. And this is what I'm going to do tomorrow morning on my show. This is my open on the radio show tomorrow. Where you put the edge? Is the guy going to do it? And I'm a germaphobe. I got my gloves on, you know. So we're talking, I should put goggles on in case he throws the ashes at me, you know. Throw the ashes. So you know what they did? It was great. This priest, this little country church out in Warren County, New Jersey, just down the road. And he goes in there. They take the ashes, sprinkled it on my head. They sprinkle on your head like that, which is great, you know. And I just want to, I put a lot of stuff in my hair. I was hoping it was the right shade, Bob. I said, let me see, is they going to match in there? I said, could you put that? But I got the ashes. We did it. And I'll tell you what, my faith is stronger than ever. And I talk about it on the air because I really feel there's an assault on religion in the country. And you should, no matter what you are, what you believe in, you should be proud that we're one nation under God. That's what I feel, and that comes from my Italian American upbringing. My parents were so patriotic. They loved this country. Everybody who came up behind me, if I may, you can see behind me, I got right up there is the boat. It was called the Moltke. It was a German freighter where my grandfather Rosario came over from the Gulf of Naples, in the late 1800s. And then that's my grandfather there. That's my grand uncle right there. This is from Dr. Joe Celso, from the museum in New York. We got an award. So I'm so proud of my heritage. And I really keep true. My grandparents worked so hard to get here. I'm telling you something you don't know. But that's why I'm proud to be with all the Italian Americans here tonight, because my grandparents worked so hard to get here. And then my parents. So I feel a responsibility to continue the legacy. And within that Italian American legacy is a strong faith, I think. God bless you all.
Beautiful. Beautifully
That's a
said.
beautiful message on Ash Wednesday.
What are you giving up for Lent is the question.
Well, okay. So just so you know, I am 13 days away from having my first baby.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So this is one of my last interviews that I'm doing this week, because then I have to kind of hold and wait and see. So I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great.
You
But
got the glow, Lisa. I'm telling you.
thank you. Thank you. But I've given up a lot over these past 9 months. So I'm hoping that God can cut me a little slack here for these next 5 weeks.
You get the pass. You get the pass.
Seriously. Bob, what are you giving up?
Talk to Bob. He knows people.
I'm not a big fan of giving things up. I try to do something more positive with my faith. And excuse me, Joe, it's funny you should bring this up. I was always very out with my faith. And when I was the county prosecutor, there were some conflicts with this, because if I had my Bible on my desk, or I wore a crucifix ring for a trial one time, and a lawyer actually said to me they were going to make a motion to have me remove the ring. And I was like, go ahead, knock it out. I'd love to be in the United States Supreme Court on that issue. And I can't help but say, Joe, I want to turn the corner a little bit on this. I thought to myself, would they do that with another religion? Or with regard to the discrimination and things that are allowed to be put on TV about Italian Americans, would they allow that with any other ethnic group? Or what are your thoughts about that?
No other ethnic group. We're the ones. I'll tell you, I talk about it on the radio too, because I think it makes us more sensitive to other ethnicities and how much we appreciate immigrants coming to the country. The immigrant population in the United States is the foundation of the United States. It's the mosaic, is the true fabric and foundation of America. But man, oh man, don't ever make fun of anybody. Don't do a Don Rickles joke anymore. Oh, you can't say anything. The Italians, they could call us all the names they want. They could portray us in a stereotypical portrayal on television. I mean, I always feel this. We can do it. If you're going to tell a joke, the way Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin went back and forth, they would call themselves these racist Italian names, but they were Italian, so you dealt with it. But from the outside, I don't know why they feel they can pick on us. And then I always draw this fact. The largest mass lynching of Italian Americans was the largest mass lynching in America was of Italian Americans in the late 1800s in New Orleans. You know that 11 Italians were lynched. I don't want to even be that graphic. I'm not graphic here, and I don't want to be graphic on the radio either. What they did, they raided the jails because a police commissioner was killed. Who was it? It was the Sicilians, and they went after the Sicilians. and they strung them up on lampposts. And I never forget that, you know. And so, but they still to this day, and the mayor, by the way, just apologized of New Orleans. So we appreciated that. But to this day, you know, like with the Columbus statue, it's like, well, I thought they're going to take the Columbus statue down. Which, you know, look at the history, look at the facts. They always pick on us, but so far, I'm telling you, makes me stronger. And we go across the country now on the radio. It's all across. They stream us everywhere. In Rome, they listen in Rome. Hey, Joe, we're listening in Rome, you know, and we stick up for the Italians. But for some reason, they feel like we're open game, man. It's something that we live with. But can I tell you this, Bob? I'm sorry to be blabbing so much. We don't complain. We don't start legislation. We don't do protests. We don't tear down statues. We don't go burn down cities. We just worked harder. When they, attacked my grandparents and they called them all those horrible names, they didn't go to the mayor and they say, "Oh, this is racist." They just worked harder, and they became architects and entertainers and doctors and lawyers, you know, and that's so telling. I think not that any racism is good, but boy, when they dished it out to us, you know, we dealt with it then, and we really turned it into a positive and assimilated, you know. But they haven't stopped. Still make the Italian jokes, you know.
You know what my rationale on that is?
What's that?
They're jealous.
Yeah, that's it.
Being Italian, and everyone here will agree, everyone watching will agree, is the best. No offense to anyone else, but it's the best.
Is. Can I tell you a story, Bob? Can I tell you a story, Lisa? That what happened when my and I always tell this when I do a speech. Forgive me if you've heard it before, but it's so telling. Is when my father went to school, he couldn't speak English when he went to first grade. They went from Newark to New Jersey, and then they had to move to the country because Pop had a little asthma. So they went out to the country called Belleville. So back then, you know, it was like, so they're out there. He's in Belleville Elementary School, one of the elementary, and Pop, he couldn't speak English, so the class made fun of him, and they would have Dad read the children's books with the Italian accent, and they would laugh. You know, Jack and the Chiller run up at the hill, you to fetch a pail of water, Jack fall down, and they're laughing. Well, my grandmother Carmela got a hold of this. She got so mad. They lived across the street. She ran over to the principal. She said, "How dare you make fun of us?" She goes, "We're immigrants. We're new. We're trying to learn the language." And the principal said to her, "This is America. Learn how to speak English." Like that. Now, you know what? We didn't complain. We didn't go to the superintendent. My grandparents didn't protest. My father went on to skip 2 grades in that school, and he went on to become a lawyer representing the non-English speaking blue-collar laborers that his father was. And that's the Italian way. You know, you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 10 times harder, and we're always going to come out on top.
Wow, that's an amazing story, Joe. I'm curious, with your eclectic background and you're like the Renaissance man of entertainment. Where does your humor come from in your family?
It's to my father. You know, as you know, Mr. Prosecutor, you got to get ready before you go into your case like that. So my father was a compensation attorney. So, and he was a small, not like not like a big law firm. He was a single lawyer law firm that represented these workers. You know, I would go to court, Bob. I'd go to court and I'd watch him. I'd sit in the back of the court, and they used to have what they call the judges or referees in compensation. And then my father would argue for a guy, but Your Honor, my client lost his arm. He's got him. And then, of course, the insurance company would say, "He's got another arm. What's the problem?" You know what I mean? So my pop would argue, and I at the back of the courtroom going like this, watching my dad, Pasquale Giuseppe, my father, the real Joe Piscopo. That's my dad. I'm going, this is good. Look at my dad sticking up for these people like that, you know? So before you go up, the judge, they were in the holding, where you go in before you go into your case, where the attorneys wait. And then like one of the sergeant at arms would walk in and say, "Mr. Piscopo, the judge wants to see you." And then we go, "Oh, what's going on?" And my pop would go in, and the judge wanted to hear the latest jokes that my father had. So he would have the joke. Most of the jokes were so politically incorrect. I couldn't even tell you now. I'm done. But back then, in the judge's chambers, they'd be laughing and going back and forth. So my father always, whatever happened, he would turn it into humor. And I'm sure that's where I got it from.
So when you announced to them that you wanted to break into show business,
Yeah.
did they have a little apprehension? Did they want you to get more of a real job, or were they supportive off the bat?
Well, I think you could guess, you know, my mother's the rock of the family to this day. And she's my hero. And as we all know, we like to tell Dad, you're the head of the family. It's really the moms that, you know. So right. So Pop was very supportive because I didn't go to law school. My father was so, and Bob, I always appreciate what you do, is you have to be, your intellect has to be so acute to understand law like that. You really do. And you have to be able to, and I just wasn't a student. And I said, Pop, I can't go to law school, you know? And he was fine. He was fine with it. And then my mother said, no, you should go to school. You should go. And I said, Mom, let me just give it a shot. And that's where my father said to me, and they supported me in this regard. Pop said to me, you want to go into entertainment? You know who your role model is. I said, who's that? Frank Sinatra. You see what Frank Sinatra came to this country. His father came from Sicily, and he went through prejudice and racism. They said he was connected. He was the greatest entertainer of all time, Frank Sinatra. You watch Frank Sinatra, and I think that's why. And they were the same exact age. They were both North Jersey Italian Americans, you know. So that really propelled me. But I know Mom wasn't crazy about it, but I always go like this: by the grace of God, you know, I ain't no star or anything like that. But all you want to do is work. You want to always be working. And by the grace of God Almighty, I've always been able to keep working, you know. So Mom's happy.
Jerry, you're a star. I just want to make a comment. I love what you just said, and I don't know if it's the experience of everyone, but everyone that I know it is. They had the husband would sit at the head of the table, the mastandon, you know, they kissed the ring. But after that, you got fed and you shut up. The women ran the families. That was it, plain and simple. My when it came to the kids, it came to the house. My father made money. That was it.
That's it. We know it's the boss. It's the boss.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mamma mia.
Hey, Justin, do we have any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a ton coming in. As you can imagine, Joe, you have a lot of admirers out there, especially among the Italian American community. So a lot of people are writing in about, you know, you're their favorite, and you know, across everything that you've done, and they're so happy to see you live tonight. You know, kind of building off what you're talking about with Frank Sinatra, a lot of people may not know this about you, that you're also a singer a little bit.
Yeah.
And that, you know, Frank is one of your favorite, you know, we'll say, people to impersonate or sing his songs. Do you have a favorite Frank song?
You know, I really think I got to tell you, it's Under My Skin. And I don't know why. Just the way he rolls into it. And doing the Sundays with Sinatra show on WABC, I've studied now the man, Frank Sinatra, my hero, in depth. And he was incredible. When you study Frank Sinatra, it's 60 years of American history, you know, through the eyes really of this iconic, you know, the most iconic entertainer of our time. And when he goes into, it's Under My Skin. I love That's Life. The best vocal performance from Francis Albert, Summer Wind. That's got to be the best, one of the best, not only just from Frank Sinatra, one of the best vocal performances of all time was Summer Wind. You know, I'll do it on stage with the full band. It's so hard to match it, you know, but I just love anything Cole Porter. I've got you under my skin, the way the old man would lay back. I've got you deep in the heart of me. You know, and then when they roll, I'd sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near. Just the way it rolls, it's so Frank Sinatra. That's got to be. But Summer Wind is it. That's Life. And then I heard this has nothing to do with anything. But I got to tell you, while we're talking to the Frank Sinatra fans out there, I Have Dreamed, the song from The King and I played it on the show this weekend. Do you know they recorded that at like 4 sound stages at MGM in the Golden Studios in California, 76 musicians. They recorded it on like a 35 millimeter, and I listened to that. That is one of the greatest vocal performances of all time. I Have Dreamed. I Dreamed. You know, it's just great. You got to come see me at concert. We do it all in concert. And Mr. Sinatra always referred to me, and I say this with the greatest of humility, as the vice chairman of the board, and it's true. And the joke is, and you'll hear me say this joke a lot because it's true, when I felt so comfortable, he was such a decent man. And when I met him, hey, Joe, baby, how are you? Joe Piscopo, I know him longer than his father's known him. He told me, that's what he said, And I said, can I call you Frank? He went, no. Yeah, so I can't, I could talk about Mr. Sinatra forever. He is who we are.
When did you meet him? When was the first time that you met your idol?
Yeah, it was at the Friars Club, had to be 1980 something. And I was doing them on Saturday Night Live. They asked me to do Frank Sinatra, the impression, and I wouldn't do it out of respect for my father and for Mr. Sinatra. Joe, we know you do because for my audition for Saturday Night Live, I did the impression of Frank Sinatra. You got to do that impression. And I said, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to disrespect Mr. Sinatra or my dad. It's their gen, because I don't want to make fun of him, I said, let me write the sketch and we'll have fun with it. And let me see. So we did one sketch. We did another sketch where I played the old man, with the gray hair. It was the older Frank Sinatra. And then, they caught on. Then I got a letter. Lisa, I got a letter. And I was at NBC. And I look at the letter and it says, Joe Piscopo, Saturday Night Live. It came up to the 17th floor. And it was from the Friars Club. I was invited to a roast of Dean Martin. The master of ceremonies was Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
And I was invited, and I was scared out of my mind. I mean, we were performing in front of 10, 20 million people. I remember running into Eddie Murphy's office. I said, Eddie, look, I'm going to be with the Rat Pack. It's Frank Sinatra. I was so excited. I got a tuxedo. I went in, and the way it really happened, if we have time, because I tell it different on stage just for dramatic license, But the way it happened, I went in and I saw Sammy was there they were celebrating Dean Martin, and Mr. Martin was there. And everybody was at Shirley MacLaine and Milton Berle. These are the old timers, that were there. But then Dick Cavett, who was a buddy, took me by the arm and he led me through the back of the room. And then he said, stop me. And I had my head down because I didn't want to trip or do something dumb, with all these stars. And I looked up and there was Francis Albert right there. And once you look into those baby blues, he'd look right down into your soul, He was such a special guy. So I froze. I didn't know what to say. Cavett goes like this, Joe Piscopo, Frank Sinatra. So I put, and all the old man did then was he went like this. He went, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Like that. Like, okay. And somebody else I got to meet. And I went, got out of there, right? So then stay with me for a second. Then we go on the dais. And I'm on the dais and I'm way up top. I'm in the cheap seats because I'm just starting out, Then I hear Mr. Sinatra introduce me. And when you hear your hero say your name, here's a kid, he's Italian, he's got good taste because he does me, he's doing that, And he goes, Joe Piscopo, it was like slow motion. You're Frank Sinatra from Jersey, this is my guy. And I went down and there I'm on the podium. There's 2,000 people at the Friars Club. Mr. Sinatra's to my left, Dean Martin to my right. And then what am I going to do? I turned into Dean Martin. And this is how it really happened. And I thanked him and congratulated him and everything. Then I went to Frank Sinatra to my left. And I said, I love the way you say the word you in your songs. And I go like this. I don't stand a ghost of a chance with you. I did that. I did it right to Mr. Sinatra right there. He's got Jack Daniels in one hand. He's got the cigarette in the other. He's looking up at me like this. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And that's where I said, hey, like a kid, hey, can I call you Frank? And he went, no. I'll tell you what, Bob, it got the biggest laugh because it was like, all right, kid, you're funny, but don't mess with me. All right. I got you. It was good. But at least that's how I met Mr. Sinatra. And then it was a love affair ever since. By the grace of God, it was a love affair ever since.
That was a great story. Justin, we got time for maybe one more question if you think we got it. We got to get
absolutely.
to these 8
I know
things
we have
that only Joe Piscopo can answer.
We have the lightning round coming up. So
oh no, you're gonna kill me.
So our lodge in Cincinnati wrote in and they were wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about your charity, the Positive Impact Foundation.
Thank you.
Yeah, and what the reason behind that and how it got started.
Justin, thank you. Who asked that question, Justin?
So that would be our lodge in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hey, hi. Oh, we love Ohio. And so I was not a great kid. Hard to imagine, I know. But and after my parents and grandparents worked so hard, I was still like just a wise guy at school, not a clown, class clown. And I just had my parents there. So then it's a long story I won't hold you up with now, but I was in LA for a while. The earthquake hit. I saw the people that needed help the most were the people that got hurt the most. And those were the people in the stressed areas of Los Angeles, and no one helped them in the earthquake. But I didn't know what to do. I came home and I went to a gentleman named Raymond Chambers. Wall Street icon, gave up everything just to help the at-risk community of Newark, New Jersey, his hometown. And I went to Mr. Chambers. I heard about Ray. I said, Mr. Chambers, I'd like to give back. What can I do? He goes, you want to give back? What do you want to do? I said, well, I understand how kids can go, they can go astray and not have their parents there. I was very fortunate. Took me to Newark. Yeah, I was working out at the time at the weights. He goes, put a gym down here, Joe. And it just turned my life around. And there was a police department right across the street from the Boys and Girls Club on the Broadway unit. I went to the police, I've always been so supportive of law enforcement. I brought the cops in with the kids, and I started the Positive Impact Foundation to create positive media for at-risk children. Because in the eyes of these children, I remember I met one kid, not to get too heavy, at the Newark Detention Center, as they took me around Newark this was when it was really bad in Newark. Newark's a great city now. It is back. It is doing spectacular. But back then, it was tough. I met one kid. He recognized me, He just knew me from Jersey, I guess. He goes, he's 15 years old. Hey, Mr. Piscopo, how are you? I said, hey, what are you in here for? He had the orange jumpsuit on. He was shackled. Bob knows what I'm talking about. And I said, what are you in here for? He goes, homicide. And he's 15 years old. And he said homicide like I would have said, well, we got into a fight. Well, we caused some, we were just being loud or something like that. It was so casual. I said, let me immerse myself into this. We took the Positive Impact Foundation. We melded with the Boys and Girls Clubs in New Jersey. And now I sit before you proud to be the ambassador of the Boys and Girls Clubs of New Jersey. So it was me going through a tough time, having my parents and my father. My father would let me off. If I did something, he would straighten me out. And then seeing all these beautiful children and all around in Cleveland and all the inner cities, what they go through. And it's been my life mission now for like 25, 30 years. And I thank Mr. Chambers for that. But now the Positive Impact Foundation is now with the Boys and Girls Clubs of the great state of New Jersey. I'm trying. You got to get back a little bit,
That's great. So speaking of the great state of New Jersey, Bob, you have been itching to do this.
Oh,
take it away.
Yeah, we have 8 things here in New Jersey that need a definitive answer. We can no longer continue to argue, Joe. We all have to get along. And since you are the favorite son of New Jersey, I'm going to ask you to finally settle some scores. Here we go. 8 speed round, 8 questions. Dickie D's or Jimmy Buff's?
Dickie D's.
Pork roll or Taylor ham?
Pork roll.
Mets or Yankees?
Yankees.
Come on.
Oh.
Passaic or North Caldwell?
It's got to be Passaic where I was born. General Hospital over there. Oh,
this one I think we know the answer to. Sinatra or Bennett?
Yeah, with due respect to Mr. Bennett, Frank Sinatra all the time, anytime.
Okay, let's go more modern. Springsteen or Bon Jovi?
Bruce, I'm a Bruce guy. Isn't that good question, though? John Bon Jovi, by the way, Italian, one of the greatest guys. They give back so much, but Bruce is the guy.
Okay, now this one, the guys were only kidding around. We're having fun.
Oh,
Piscopo or Uncle Floyd?
I am love. Nobody is funnier than Floyd Vivino. Nobody. I give that to Uncle Floyd. He is a legend. And he's the man. So I'll give it to Uncle Floyd.
That's very humble of you. But okay, now here is the ultimate question. It's the last one, Joe. Please, I'm fighting a battle here.
Oh no.
I'm praying. Gravy or sauce?
You know what? I know what your answer is. So I'm going to say gravy. I'm going to say gravy.
There you go. Mark the Nunzio, that's for you. We don't need a contest. Joe Piscopo has just answered the question. This issue is finalized and resolved.
I think Bob walks into the courtroom asking everyone that question. It's a burning question for him all the time.
All right, well, Lisa, I think we got to wrap up, but unfortunately, I would love to have you on for a lot
I
more.
know,
Joe.
this was so amazing, Joe. Thank you so, so much. But before we go, Justin, really, really quickly, share with our audience how they too could become members of Sons and Daughters of Italy in America.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in joining our organization, you can head to www.osia.org, click on the member tab and find the nearest local lodge to you, or sign up online to be a national at-large member. If you have any questions, send us an email at nationaloffice@osia.org, and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Pinterest.
Great. Thank you so much, Justin. And thank you so much, Joe. This was really, really a pleasure.
But Lisa and Bob and Justin, I have to tell you, and the folks kind enough to tune in, it's so important we hold on to our heritage, because like I said, with the pictures behind me of my grandfather and my family, it's up to us now, because they will let it go, and they may, like we were talking about, offend us in some way. They may try to tear down our heritage, but what the sons and daughters, I love that you include daughters. I have 3 daughters, so I love that you include the Sons and Daughters of Italy. We all have to join together. This is the year, and this was the first year, if I may, that we did, because they tried to take the Columbus statue down in New York. And you know what? We all stood together for the first time. So what you say is, and what you're doing there at the Sons and Daughters of Italy, it's the most vital time in our heritage right now in 2021. So God bless you for what you're doing. Let me express my infinite thanks. Con molto rispetto, with great respect. Thank you. Keep the fight. Keep the fight. It is just.
Thanks, Joe. Blessings to you for a great Lent, and for everything that you bring to the table for our community and for those charities. We'll talk soon, hopefully.
Yeah, let's see it. See you on Bluefield Avenue.
Okay. Ciao.